first soul note played during the bomb. I believe that every musical note comes back around, and I'm not talking about karma, I'm talking about the way that two musicians collaborate. Oh! I'm talking about harmony. I'm talking about the kind that builds character that you never knew you had. Like the physical reactions of muscles that are trained over time to react in ways that are unexpected and yet expected. I'm talking about those first super musical notes played in the first musical Super Bowl, that was played in the first musical overtones of my heart that shadowed my life. I'm talking about things that stir the soul, like mom stirred her old chicken soup when I was sick to nurse me back to health, because that's what music does on a good rainy day. So when I listen to soul music, it reminds me of chicken soup, it reminds me of my mom, it reminds me of home, it reminds me of better times, it reminds me of times I wasn't alone, it reminds me of family. So those that can't relate are either tone deaf or not alive anymore. Because every fiber of my being lights up like the first fiber optic lights that were displayed through the television. It's like that time when man first realized they weren't alone and looked to the sky and realized that angels were under God's control and they were under God's watch and they were God's chosen people and they were God's apple in his eye, aside from the garden and fruit that was forbidden, but rather for things that were given and things that allowed them to keep living and things that allowed them to breathe in music.
Wow.
I'm in love with the concept of being in love. I'm in harmony with the concept of being in harmony. So if love and music ever had a child, you are looking at who that would be. Sometimes I like to think that I allow God to be my co-author in everything in life that I've ever written that was worthwhile. But to believe that at the same time would mean that Satan was the co-author of everything I've done that was vile. To believe that would mean I have no control over my own life. I know that God gave free will for the purpose of allowing us to choose. So when my life is spent, when my life is used, when my life is either cared for or abused, I know in the end it was my own fault or my own reward. So for my own fault and for my own reward, there is a harmony for each, and for each there is a chord, and for each there is a string that plays on my heart like blue guitars played by a professional band.
That's awesome.
Like bass strings plucked by the same fingers of the music you are listening to now. Like ivory piano keys thumbed by the same thumbs that are strumming these tunes you hear now. Like thumbs that strum and play the very same drums you heard before listening to what you are listening to now. Because art is life. Music is life. Love is life. God is life. So the childbirth from many of these creations are beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. There it is, man. There it is, man. Yes, sir.